The yacht was sinking and Jasmine Parker had 13 seconds before the next wave of killers breached the upper deck. Vincent Kong bled from his shoulder, back pressed against the mahogany bar that hours ago had served champagne to Miami's elite. Now it served as cover from bullets that chewed through leather furniture and shattered crystal. His security team, 8 men who'd protected him for years, lay scattered across the deck. Dead or dying. Jasmine couldn't tell which and didn't have time to check. 30 assassins. That's what Vincent's lieutenant had shouted before a sniper round took him down. 30 professionals sent to kill one man at his own birthday party, on his own yacht, in international waters where bodies disappeared and questions went unasked. Jasmine adjusted her grip on the fountain pen she'd stolen from Vincent's jacket pocket. Mont Blanc, heavy, expensive, perfectly weighted. In her other hand, a chopstick from the sushi bar. Not ideal weapons, but she'd worked with worse. The first assassin came through the starboard door low and fast, rifle up, professional. Jasmine was faster. She drove the pen into the soft tissue behind his ear, angled upward, hitting the greater auricular nerve with enough force to send his entire nervous system into shock. He dropped without firing a shot. The second assassin saw his partner fall, adjusted his approach, came in high. Jasmine went low, swept his legs, and jammed the chopstick into his femoral nerve cluster as he fell. His scream cut off when she hit him in the throat with her elbow. Not to kill, just to silence. How many? Vincent's voice was steady despite the blood soaking his white shirt. I count 28 still active. Jasmine grabbed the fallen rifle, checked the magazine. Half empty. You're hit. How bad? I'll live if we survive the next 10 minutes. Optimistic. I like that in a crime lord. Footsteps thundered on the deck below. Multiple hostiles converging on their position. Jasmine's mind calculated angles, distances, the precise points where human anatomy became vulnerable when you knew exactly where to apply force. 2 years ago, she'd been Dr. Jasmine Parker, neurologist, saving lives in sterile operating rooms. Now she was the woman who kept Miami's most dangerous man alive by knowing exactly how to shut down a human body without killing it. Usually without killing it. The next assassin through the door got the rifle stock across his temple, precise strike to the temporal bone that dropped him instantly. Jasmine didn't wait for the fourth. She vaulted over the bar, grabbed a bottle of vodka, and threw it at the fifth man's face. While he flinched, she closed the distance and drove her fingers into his brachial plexus. His arm went dead. She took his knife and used it to cut the strap on his vest, tangling him in his own equipment as he fell. Jesus Christ, Vincent muttered, watching her work. Where did you learn that? Medical school. They don't advertise the combat applications. Jasmine spun, threw the knife at assassin number 6. It caught him in the thigh, exactly where she'd aimed. Femoral artery adjacent, painful but not fatal. He went down screaming. The yacht lurched. Something had damaged the hull. Water was coming in fast. We need to move. Vincent pushed himself upright, grimacing. If this boat goes down, then 24 assassins become 24 corpses and our problem solves itself. And we drown with them. Details. But Jasmine was already moving toward the upper deck, toward the life rafts she'd memorized the location of when Vincent first brought her aboard 3 months ago. Always know your exits. First rule of survival. They made it 5 steps before the explosion ripped through the engine room. The yacht tilted 45 degrees. Jasmine caught herself on a railing. Vincent slid, his injured shoulder slamming into a support beam. His grunt of pain told her he'd reopened the wound. 7 more assassins poured onto the tilting deck, moving with the practiced ease of men who trained for chaos. They fanned out, covering angles, cutting off escape routes. Professional. Organized. Expensive. This wasn't just a hit, Vincent said, voice tight with pain and realization. This was an execution. Someone paid a fortune for this. Yeah, I noticed the coordinated assault pattern. Jasmine helped him stand, her mind already running calculations. 7 targets. She had a pen, a chopstick, and rage. Math said she was going to die. Grandmother's voice echoed in her head, the woman who'd raised her after her parents died, who'd taught her that survival wasn't about strength, it was about knowing exactly where to strike. Baby girl, the human body is just a machine. You break the right part, the whole thing stops working. The lead assassin stepped forward, gun trained on Vincent. He spoke in Russian-accented English. Mr. Kong. You will come with us. The woman can live if she doesn't interfere. Generous offer. Jasmine shifted her weight, calculating distances. Counter-proposal, you all leave now and I don't have to explain to your employer why his 30-man kill squad got stopped by a waitress with office supplies. The assassin smiled. You're very brave. Or very stupid. Both, usually. He raised his gun. Jasmine moved. The pen went into his wrist, precise strike to the radial nerve. His finger spasmed off the trigger. Before the gun hit the deck, she'd closed the distance to assassin number 2, driving her knee into his common peroneal nerve. His leg buckled. She grabbed his head on the way down and slammed it into the railing. Assassin 3 swung at her with a tactical baton. She caught his wrist, redirected the momentum, and drove her thumb into his ulnar nerve. The baton fell. She caught it mid-air and used it to sweep Assassin 4's legs out from under him. The yacht was sinking faster now. Water rushed across the deck, making footing treacherous. Jasmine used it, sliding on the wet surface like ice, moving between targets faster than they could track. Assassin 5 caught her from behind, arm around her throat. Wrong move. She drove her heel into his instep, then reached back and pressed her fingers into the pressure point behind his jaw. Mandibular nerve. His grip loosened instantly. She threw him over her shoulder into Assassin 6. Jasmine. Vincent's warning came too late. Assassin 7 had her in his sights, finger on the trigger, center mass shot she couldn't dodge. The gun fired. Jasmine felt the impact, hot and immediate, punching through her side just above her hip. Not fatal if she moved fast. Fatal if she didn't. She grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall mount and hurled it at the shooter. It hit him square in the chest, knocking him backward into the water now flooding the deck. Then she was on him, driving her fist into his solar plexus, following up with a strike to his carotid sinus that sent him into unconsciousness. How bad? Vincent was beside her, his good hand pressing against her wound. I'll live. Probably. Blood soaked through her white blouse, the one she'd worn because Vincent said she looked beautiful in white. We need to go. Now. They stumbled toward the life rafts. Behind them, the yacht groaned and tilted further. Bodies slid across the deck, some moving, most not. Jasmine had stopped counting after assassin number 15. Everything was blood and water and pain now. Vincent got the raft deployed with one hand while Jasmine provided covering fire with a recovered pistol. 3 more assassins emerged from below deck. She shot one in the leg, another in the shoulder. The third dove for cover. Get in. Vincent hauled her into the raft. She collapsed against the rubber flooring, her vision swimming. Blood loss or shock, probably both. The yacht was going down fast now, dragging assassins and evidence with it. Vincent cut the raft free and they drifted away from the sinking vessel, watching Miami's skyline glow in the distance. 30 assassins, Vincent said quietly, looking at Jasmine. You stopped 30 assassins. 23. The ocean got the rest. She pressed harder against her wound. And I didn't stop them all. One of them shot me. But you're alive. We're alive. For now. Jasmine looked at the blood on her hands, at the man beside her who she'd been protecting for 3 months, who she'd somehow started caring about despite every instinct that said crime lords and ex-neurologists didn't get happy endings. Vincent, whoever planned this, whoever paid for 30 professionals to kill you on your own yacht, they're not going to stop. This was just the opening move. I know. He pulled out his phone, waterproof case, and started making calls in rapid Korean. Which is why we're going to find out who betrayed me. And then we're going to make sure they regret it. Jasmine closed her eyes, feeling the raft rock beneath them, feeling her heartbeat pulse against her palm pressed to her side. We should probably address the part where I just killed or maimed 23 people. Later. First we survive. Then we can discuss your extremely impressive and terrifying skill set. It's a date. He laughed, sharp and pained and alive. Dr. Parker, are you flirting with me while bleeding out in a life raft? Seemed like good timing. She opened her eyes, met his gaze. Also, I think I'm going into shock, so if I say something embarrassing, we're blaming the blood loss. Noted. His hand found hers, squeezed gently. Thank you. For not running. For fighting. For saving my life about 15 times tonight. Thank me by making sure whoever did this burns. Already planning it. Coast Guard arrived 20 minutes later, alerted by Vincent's calls. By then, Jasmine had field-dressed both their wounds using strips torn from her dress and Vincent's jacket. The paramedics loaded them into the helicopter with efficient precision, asking questions neither of them answered. As they lifted off, Jasmine looked back at the water where Vincent's yacht had sunk, taking most of the assassins with it. Bodies would wash up eventually. Questions would be asked. But in Miami, where Vincent Kong owned half the police department and all of the coroner's office, those questions wouldn't lead anywhere useful. 2 years ago, she said, voice barely audible over the helicopter rotors, I was a doctor. Now I'm whatever this is. Vincent leaned close so she could hear him. 2 years ago, I didn't know you existed. Now you're the reason I'm still breathing. So whatever this is, I'm grateful for it. The helicopter banked toward Miami General. Jasmine closed her eyes and let herself feel it, the pain, the adrenaline crash, the weight of 23 bodies on her conscience. She'd saved Vincent. But saving him meant becoming something she'd never wanted to be. A killer. The question was whether she could live with that. Whether he was worth it. Looking at Vincent Kong, at the man who'd somehow become the center of her world in just 3 months, she thought maybe he was. But first, they had to survive whatever came next. 3 months earlier. The restaurant was called Sapphire, one of those places where appetizers cost $50 and the waitstaff looked like models. Jasmine sat at the bar nursing a whiskey she couldn't afford, watching her bank account balance drop with each sip, and wondered when her life had become a country song. 2 years since she'd lost her medical license. 2 years since Dr. Jasmine Parker, rising star in neurology, had become just Jasmine, unemployed and unemployable, living off savings that were almost gone. The investigation had cleared her, eventually. No criminal charges for helping terminal patients die with dignity. But the medical board had different standards than the courts. Compassionate euthanasia was still euthanasia. License revoked. Career destroyed. Future cancelled. She'd tried other work. Medical consulting for law firms paid well until they background checked her. Pharmaceutical research wouldn't touch her. Even urgent care clinics turned her away once they saw her history. So now she sat in expensive restaurants drinking cheap whiskey, applying for waitress positions online, and trying not to think about how far she'd fallen. That's when Vincent Kong sat down 3 seats over. She noticed him immediately. Hard not to. Mid-30s, Korean features, wearing a black suit that screamed money and power. But it was the way he moved that caught her attention. Controlled. Precise. Like a man who calculated every gesture. He ordered in Korean, then switched to English when the bartender looked confused. Soju, chilled. And the omakase. Jasmine watched him settle in, watched the staff treat him with the deference reserved for owners or celebrities or very dangerous people. Probably all 3. The sushi arrived. Vincent ate methodically, pausing between pieces like he was savoring each one. Then halfway through his meal, he stopped. Set down his chopsticks. His hand went to his throat. Jasmine's medical training activated before her brain caught up. She was moving, crossing the 3 seats between them, as Vincent's face started to flush. "You're having an allergic reaction." She grabbed his wrist, checked his pulse. Fast, thready. "What are you allergic to?" "Nothing." His voice was strained. "I'm not." "Your throat is closing." "That's anaphylaxis." Jasmine scanned his plate, her mind running through compounds, ingredients, common allergens. Then she saw it. The garnish on his last piece. That's not regular wasabi. Someone substituted horseradish mixed with something else. Probably peanut oil. She grabbed his water glass, dumped it, and started scanning the bar. Salt, pepper, bitters, citrus. Her hands moved with muscle memory from years of emergency medicine, grabbing bottles, mixing ratios she'd memorized in medical school. This is going to taste terrible. She shoved the improvised mixture into his hands. "Drink it. All of it." Vincent looked at the murky liquid, then at her, then drank. He gagged, but kept it down. "Now stick your finger down your throat and vomit. We need to purge whatever you haven't absorbed yet." "I'm not." "Do it or die." "Your choice, but decide fast." He turned and vomited into the ice bucket. The bartender shrieked. Other patrons scattered. Jasmine ignored them all, watching Vincent's color, monitoring his breathing. After 30 seconds, his airways started to open. The flush faded. His breathing steadied. "Ambulance is on the way," the bartender said, phone to his ear. "Should I cancel it?" Vincent wiped his mouth, his eyes never leaving Jasmine. "I'm fine now." "You're not fine. You need a hospital, proper antihistamines, observation for secondary reactions." "I said cancel it." The command in Vincent's voice made the bartender hang up immediately. Then he turned that same intensity on Jasmine. "You're a doctor." "Was a doctor. Now I'm just someone who knows things. You just saved my life. I just kept you from dying in the next 5 minutes. There's a difference." Vincent stood, steadier now, and pulled out his wallet. He placed $500 bills on the bar. "For the disturbance." Then he looked at Jasmine. "What's your name?" "Jasmine Parker." "Vincent Kong." He offered his hand. She shook it, feeling calluses that didn't match the expensive suit. "I'm going to ask you a question, and I'd appreciate honesty. Did someone just try to kill me?" Jasmine looked at the sushi, at the substituted wasabi, at the precise way someone had engineered a deadly allergic reaction disguised as an accident. "Yes. Professional work, too. They knew your allergy, knew you'd order omakase, knew exactly which piece to contaminate. And you recognized it immediately. I spent 5 years in emergency medicine. You see enough anaphylaxis, you learn the signs." Vincent was quiet for a moment, studying her like she was a puzzle he needed to solve. Why did you help me? You don't know me. For all you know, I deserved it. Nobody deserves to die choking on their own throat. Not even people who probably deserve it. His smile was sharp. You think I deserve it? I think men who make bartenders cancel ambulances and pay $500 for vomiting in ice buckets probably have interesting careers. Diplomatic answer. He pulled out a business card, handed it to her. I'm in import-export. Shipping logistics. Very boring, very profitable. I'm also apparently in need of someone who can identify attempts on my life before they succeed. Interested in a job? As what? Your personal poison taster? As my personal neurologist turned bodyguard who knows exactly how to keep me alive. He gestured at the bar. What you just did, the improvised antidote using bar ingredients, that's not standard medical training. That's expertise. That's desperation and a good memory. I'll pay you $10,000 a month. Cash. No questions about your background. Jasmine's laugh came out bitter. You did already background check me. Of course. Dr. Jasmine Parker. Brilliant neurology resident. Promising career destroyed by euthanasia allegations. Medical license revoked. Unemployed for 2 years. His eyes held hers. I don't care about your past. I care about your skills. And right now, I need someone with your skills watching my back. Why me? You could hire actual bodyguards. I have bodyguards. They're very good at stopping bullets. You're good at stopping things they'd never see coming. Poison, allergic reactions, medical sabotage. He leaned closer. Someone in my organization wants me dead. Someone close enough to know my routines, my preferences, my weaknesses. I need someone from outside my world to help me figure out who before they succeed. This is insane. Probably. But you're sitting in a restaurant you can't afford, drinking whiskey and applying for waitress jobs, when you could be using that brilliant mind for something more interesting. So tell me, Dr. Parker, are you desperate enough to take a job from a stranger who just vomited in front of you? Jasmine should have said no. Should have walked away from the obvious danger, the clear criminal connections, the certainty that working for Vincent Kong would drag her deeper into a world she'd never wanted to enter. Instead, she heard herself say, "When do I start?" Now. Vincent stood, adjusting his jacket. You're coming with me. I have a business dinner in an hour and whoever poisoned me might try again. Consider this your audition. The first week, Jasmine learned Vincent's world from the inside. His legitimate shipping business moved cargo containers through Miami's port, legal goods mixed with illegal ones in ratios she didn't ask about. His illegitimate business controlled half of Miami's underground economy, protection rackets to gambling to things Jasmine actively chose not to know. She also learned that Vincent Kong was the third-generation heir to a Korean crime family that had operated in America since the 1950s. His grandfather had built the empire through brutality. His father had maintained it through strategic violence. Vincent was trying to transition everything legitimate, slowly, carefully, without triggering a war with rival organizations who liked the status quo. It made him vulnerable. Reformers always were. Your uncle doesn't approve of your business strategy, Jasmine said one morning, watching Vincent's security detail sweep his office for listening devices. 3 weeks in, she'd learned to read the family dynamics, the tensions barely hidden beneath respectful bows. My uncle thinks I'm weak. That going legitimate is surrendering power. Vincent didn't look up from the documents he was signing. He's probably right. Is he planning to remove you? He's planning something. I just can't prove what yet. That afternoon, someone tried to kill Vincent with a car bomb. Jasmine spotted the device while walking the parking garage, a magnetic explosive attached to the undercarriage of his Mercedes. She'd been checking for exactly that kind of threat every day, part of her new routine. Vincent's bomb squad disarmed it. His IT team traced the purchase to a shell company connected to a Russian smuggling operation. Not his uncle. Someone else. "You have a lot of enemies," Jasmine observed, watching the bomb disposal team work. "Comes with the territory. You're doing well, by the way. 3 weeks, 3 attempts stopped. You're earning your salary. I'm terrified every single day." "Good. Fear keeps you alert." He looked at her then, really looked, and something shifted in his expression. "But you're not running." "Why?" Jasmine thought about her empty apartment, her empty bank account, her empty life before Vincent. "Because this is the first time in 2 years I've felt useful. Like I'm actually good at something that matters. Keeping me alive matters. Keeping anyone alive matters. Even morally questionable shipping magnates." His smile was genuine this time. "Thank you, Dr. Parker." "It's just Jasmine now." "No. You earned that title. I'm not taking it from you." The second month brought escalation. A sniper took a shot at Vincent during a restaurant meeting. Jasmine spotted the laser sight, pulled him down as the window exploded. 2 Russian gang members tried to grab him outside a club. Jasmine disabled them both using pressure point strikes that left them conscious but unable to move, screaming about the devil woman who fought with her fingers. Vincent's people started calling her the Needle because of how precisely she struck, how little force she needed to take down men twice her size. Vincent just called her Jasmine. Somewhere between the 3rd assassination attempt and the 5th, they stopped being employer and employee. Started being something else. Something neither of them named but both felt. It was in the way he checked on her after violence, making sure she wasn't hurt, wasn't traumatized. The way she stayed late in his office, ostensibly reviewing security protocols but really just talking. About medicine, about family, about the weight of legacy and the cost of change. "My sister thinks you're sleeping with me," Vincent said one night, both of them exhausted after a 16-hour day preventing various disasters. "Are we?" "No. But I'd like to." The honesty startled her. "That's direct. I don't have time for games. Someone's trying to kill me weekly. If I'm interested in someone, I say it. And Jasmine, I'm interested. Have been since you made me vomit in that ice bucket. Romantic. I'm told my charm is unconventional. She should have kept it professional. Should have maintained boundaries. Instead, she heard herself ask, "Why me?" "Because you don't fear me. Don't fear my world. You just see problems and solve them with terrifying efficiency." He moved closer. "Because you're brilliant and dangerous and you don't apologize for either. Because I've spent my entire life surrounded by people who want things from me, and you just want me alive. That's refreshing. I'm not relationship material. I helped people die for a living. I run a criminal empire. We're both morally compromised. Might as well be compromised together." Jasmine laughed despite herself. "This is the worst courtship I've ever experienced. Give me a chance to improve. Dinner tomorrow. Real dinner, not business. Just you and me. And your security team. Obviously. I'm not stupid." She said yes. Of course she said yes. Because Vincent Kong saw her, really saw her, not the failed doctor or the license-revoked neurologist, but the woman who'd rebuilt herself into something sharp and useful and necessary. The 3rd month brought betrayal. Vincent's sister, Grace, invited them to celebrate his birthday on his yacht. Private party, just family and close associates. Jasmine ran her usual security checks, found nothing concerning. The guest list was vetted. The catering was supervised. Every protocol was followed. But 30 assassins still showed up. 30 Russian professionals with equipment and intelligence that could only come from someone inside Vincent's organization. Someone who knew his birthday plans. Someone who knew exactly how to neutralize his security before the attack. Someone family. And as Jasmine fought through the carnage, as she watched Vincent's people die protecting him, as she used every ounce of medical knowledge to turn the human body into a weapon, she realized the truth. This wasn't just an assassination. This was a coup. And Vincent's sister was the one orchestrating it. Coast Guard deposited them at Miami General's emergency entrance. Jasmine was rushed into surgery to remove the bullet lodged near her kidney. Vincent, despite his protests, was admitted for observation and wound care. When Jasmine woke 12 hours later, Vincent was sitting beside her hospital bed, his shoulder bandaged, his expression dark. "Your sister," Jasmine said, voice rough from intubation. "I know. My people found the paper trail while you were in surgery. Grace has been planning this for 6 months. Made a deal with the Volkov family, give them my shipping routes in exchange for their help taking over the organization. She tried to kill you. She tried to kill both of us. The Volkovs were supposed to eliminate anyone who could identify them. That included you." His hand found hers. "I'm sorry. This is my fault. I brought you into my world, made you a target. I made myself a target when I saved you at Sapphire. Don't apologize for that. 23 people, Jasmine. You killed or disabled 23 assassins. That's not medical expertise. That's something else. That's survival." She met his eyes. "Your sister needs to answer for this. She will. But first, you need to recover. Then we're going to dismantle everything she built, everyone she bribed, every alliance she made. And when we're done, she's going to wish the Volkovs had killed her instead." Jasmine should have been horrified by the cold promise in his voice. Instead, she felt something close to relief. This was who Vincent was, who she'd agreed to protect. A man who valued loyalty absolutely and punished betrayal without mercy. "I'm in," she said. "Whatever you need, I'm in. This isn't your fight. You made it my fight when your sister put 30 assassins on that yacht. She tried to kill me, Vincent. I don't forgive that lightly." His smile was sharp and dangerous. "You're terrifying when you're angry. I'm terrifying always. You're just now noticing." He laughed, the sound surprising and genuine. Then he leaned forward and kissed her, gentle despite the violence they'd survived, sweet despite the blood still under their fingernails. When they pulled apart, Jasmine whispered, "This is insane. Completely. But I don't care. Neither do I." 6 months later. The new office overlooked Biscayne Bay, floor-to-ceiling windows showing Miami's skyline in the distance. Vincent's legitimate shipping empire had grown by 40% in 6 months, mostly because his competitors kept having unfortunate accidents or suddenly deciding to retire. Jasmine sat at her desk, reviewing medical protocols for Vincent's new employee wellness program. Completely legitimate, completely legal, and completely her idea. If Vincent was transitioning the family business into something clean, they needed infrastructure. Health insurance. Safety standards. Actual HR departments that didn't solve problems with violence. Well, mostly didn't solve problems with violence. Grace Kong was currently serving 15 years for attempted murder, embezzlement, and conspiracy charges. Vincent had made sure the evidence was overwhelming, the lawyers were inadequate, and the prison was particularly unpleasant. The Volkov family had withdrawn from Miami entirely after 3 of their senior members died in what police called targeted killings. Jasmine didn't ask for details. Some things were better left unknown. Vincent walked into her office without knocking, habit from 6 months of shared space and shared danger. He carried coffee, black, exactly how she liked it. Board meeting in an hour. You ready? I'm a neurologist, not a business executive. You're the chief medical officer of a billion-dollar shipping company. That makes you an executive. He set the coffee down, then pulled a small box from his pocket. Also, I need to ask you something. Jasmine's heart stopped. Vincent. I know we've only known each other 9 months. I know our relationship started with me vomiting and ended with you killing 23 people to save my life. I know this isn't conventional. He opened the box. Inside was a ring, simple platinum band with a single diamond. But nothing about us is conventional. So, Dr. Jasmine Parker, will you marry me? She stared at the ring, at the man offering it, at the life they'd built from violence and trust and the desperate need to keep each other alive. This is insane, she said. You keep saying that. Because it keeps being true. Is that a no? Jasmine stood, crossed to him, and kissed him hard enough to make a statement. When she pulled back, she was smiling. It's a yes, you impossible man. It's a yes. He slid the ring onto her finger, and Jasmine looked at it, this symbol of a future she'd never imagined. From failed doctor to crime lord's fiancé. From broken and unemployed to dangerous and indispensable. Your grandmother would have opinions, Vincent said, arms around her waist. My grandmother would have loved you. She always said I needed someone who saw my strength instead of fearing it. I don't fear it. I weaponize it. Same thing in your world. They stood there, 2 people who'd found each other in blood and chaos, who'd chosen each other despite every logical reason not to, who'd built something impossible from the wreckage of their broken pasts. And when the board meeting started an hour later, when they walked into that room as partners in business and partners in life, nobody questioned it. Because everyone knew the story. Everyone knew that Jasmine Parker had stopped 30 assassins with medical knowledge and absolute precision. Everyone knew she was the most dangerous person Vincent Kong had ever hired. And everyone knew that dangerous was exactly what this family needed. The difference was, now it was her family too. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel and let us know in the comments where you are watching from.